Rock 102 KFMA, St. Patty's Day Pot of Gold Music Festival in Tempe. Before everything kicks off, I was lucky enough to sneak back here and snag a chance to sit and chat. Arguably one of the best drummers of all time, in our era, maybe. I don't know, where do you rank yourself? Shannon Larkin.
Oh, man. I don't know. I do my best, I couldn't rank myself, but, I never make those lists anyway, it seems like. But I think Godsmack bands think I'm the best,
Who's tops for you in your eyes, guys that are... I mean, I know there's probably the Bonhams and, Keith Moons have that stature in your eyes, but who's out there playing right now that you hold in a high regard as a peer?
Well, Chad Smith, Chili Peppers, one of my favorites. And, we're playing with that little band, Korn. That dude is a monster, Ray Luzier. Wow. He's amazing to watch. And, I was real impressed with Slipknot's new drummer, who's, I can't remember his name, but he's Max Weinberg's son. But this kid can play like nobody's business, and that was impressive. I really love Chris Adler of Lamb of God. He's a monster on him. Those are probably, but I put Chad at the top, man. He just has an undeniable feel, and, he can play any drum set, and it sounds like Chad Smith,
So you guys have over 20 radio hits, 20 top charting radio hits. I mean, for a band like Godsmack and with rock radio, I don't want to say in a decline because it's paying my bills right now, but with rock radio in the state it's in, I mean, how important is it to not only, bands like you guys who are where you are today, but bands coming up?
Yeah, I always say it. It's I feel sorry for new bands trying to come up and make it these days because, we're up in our late 40s, and it was a different time and age when we, came out, and we're trying to be successful in this business. We couldn't have done it without radio, and record sales, everything is on the decline. And but you can never replace a live band. So live music will always prevail. It's just going to be a long, tough road for new acts coming out. It's a sign of the times. For a while I tried to resist, but now I find myself downloading a record. It goes right to my phone instantaneously. Before I wanted to have the product in my hand, a physical copy of a CD, man.
Do you feel like there's something lacking not having that tangible album to look at the artwork, to look at the liner notes, to look at the lyrics?
Yeah, and the artwork mainly. Like, it used to go hand in hand with making a new record, your art. And now you're trying to, make something that jumps out the size of a quarter, a thumbnail they call it, And so art has become a whole different thing too. And, for an old guy like me, it's a shame, because I think, kids are missing out. And I used to remember just even the sound of how the records sounded when you're flipping through them at the record store, I mean, I'm that old. I still miss albums, vinyl, But that's when the art was big and bold, When it went to CD, I was like, wow, it does sound better, I guess, and they last forever, where your old vinyl would start to get warbly. But I still hated the fact that the art was so small, and you need a magnifying glass to read the lyrics nowadays, if they even put them on, But yeah, so I miss things like that. But, like I said, nothing's ever going to take away live music from bands, and so you got to keep making records, keep touring, and nothing will change that. I don't care if we, we're going to put out records until we don't, and they're either going to sell or they don't. We're lucky enough to have been raised coming up in a time in which radio was big and important. Mm-hmm. And I think also with radio, rock radio particularly is on a decline right now, but these things are cyclical, and, as long as there's teenagers, I think rock music will live.
This interview for me is kind of cool, and I hope I'm keeping my composure in your eyes. Back on the Faceless album, it had to have been 2004, 2005. Does that seem like a fair timetable?
Yeah.
I met you guys as an intern. I worked at The Rock, WCCC in Hartford. So, with Mike Caroli and Stephen Wayne and all those guys, kind of that radio station itself was like a fraternity, you know what I mean? And you would do all the grunt work, you do all the sweaty work, but you get, to stand side stage when you got, Godsmack played the Meadows, whether it was on Ozfest or you came through on whatever tour, you got to stand there and watch, these guys who were like my idols growing up talk to rock stars and to just kind of soak it all in. And I was thinking about it last night, 3 or 4 glasses of whiskey deep, just going like, this is kind of a really cool, not that I've arrived, because I still think I have a long way to go to get to be, a radio personality of merit, but to get to this level, to be talking face to face with a guy like you who's done so much and accomplished so much. And I can remember, I think I still have photos when I, on my old like click wheel camera, I'm like, holy crap, that's Godsmack. I'm 40 feet away, but they're interviewing my radio station. That's killer. I mean, yeah, I'm kind of fanboying out right now, and I do apologize, but that's cool. Do you have moments like that with other people you interact with in the industry? I mean, is that something you can relate to, or are you just at the point where it's like, I've been around, I've done it all, I've seen it all?
No, man, I still get giddy, man. I saw Judas Priest. We went down to Australia and played some shows with Judas Priest. And, I did a record 15, almost 20 years ago with Glenn Tipton from Judas Priest. Mm-hmm. And I played drums on one of his solo record. And, but I kept seeing him at the airport, and I was...
Now, it was at this point in the interview that I looked down and my memory card was full. So as Shannon continued to share an awesome story about how he fanboyed out to Glenn Tipton, and then went on to share cool stories about Ted Nugent opening for Godsmack, and Godsmack and Ted playing for the troops overseas, all I kept hearing over and over in my head was this clip. So let this be a lesson. Always make sure that memory card is clean and ready to go, so you don't look like a douchebag. I'm sure I'll cross paths with Shannon again, and I'll get some more cool stories for you. But in the meantime, Shmonty, Rock 102.